Good morning. How's everybody today? It is Friday. TGIF, huh? Well, not for me. Every day's TGIF for me. Okay. Got a new pope. An American pope. 69 years old, which I think gives him like 11 years or something, maybe 10 years before he's forced to retire. I don't think they're allowed to be pope after 80. I don't know. I'm not real familiar with all that stuff. But he looks like he's in good shape, so maybe we'll get a few good years out of him. I hope so. He looks like he could be great. I don't know how to explain that. I'm not religious. I don't believe in religions. But this guy looked like he could maybe accomplish something really good in his life, It's said that he's a critic in the past of Trump. We'll find out whether that amounts to much or anything, I don't know how much people listen to what the Pope says and how they react to it, You just don't know these things, so we have to wait and see what happens. But hopefully people will listen to this guy, and he's got some good stuff, and he tries to reform the church a little bit, or at least maintain the reforms that are there now, and that he goes out and he institutes some new reforms and tries to get the world back to where it was, which is the hardest thing I've ever said to somebody, that you have to go do that, That's going to be one of the toughest things he does. And Trump screwed everything up. He screwed the whole world up. He didn't just fuck up the United States. He screwed everything up. Now, Trump is cutting tariffs to China from 145 to 80%. He hasn't done it. He said that he thinks they should be 80%. I don't know whether China agrees with that or not. But he's doing it so that if China decides to make a deal, he'll show, and he can say, "Oh, look, I got a deal from China." Yeah, but you caved. Don't you realize you caved? I don't know. He's stupid. He doesn't understand. He's supposed to be really this brilliant negotiator and businessman, and I don't know. If he ever negotiated anything at any time in his life where the use of money wasn't involved, he can't negotiate. I don't think he could play chess either, because he's not able to think logically and to think that far in the future. He thinks only of his immediate needs, cheeseburgers, whatever, I think he's impotent now, and he's probably just bullying everybody because he can't get it up anymore. That would be interesting to look into. I know I have prostate problems and everything else, so sex might have left me a long time ago, but I'm almost 80 years old, and he's close to that too. So I wonder, but I don't get pissed off. I just sit around and work and do things to improve myself a little bit, I have a book I have to translate from Spanish to English, and I've been just looking at it, because that's a lot of work. I got to figure out a way to do it. What's going on now? Oh yeah. One of the articles on, I think it was CNN's homepage, said, Trump it took us 250 years to get here, and Trump's trying to destroy it. Well, if it doesn't benefit him in any way, if it can't make him richer, or if it can't make him whatever, he wants to be that day more powerful, because he's not going to get respect. That went out the window a long time ago, because he's a fat slob, and he's just very, very dictatorial in his mannerisms and whatnot, and he has no je ne sais quoi, as they say, so he's dead. I don't mean it like that. I mean, he's just done, in terms of ever hoping to get the world's respect. Earn it. He can threaten them and get respect, you know. He can do it through fear, but can he do it through deeds and whatnot? No. He just doesn't know what to do. He's too stupid. Now, Trump is in the process of this. Like I said, he's in the process of destroying democracy, which is 250 years old. You know, and the thing about democracy is it's allowed Trump to do what he's doing. You know, without democracy, without fair trials, without the rule of law, he wouldn't be where he is right now. Now what's going to happen is that, you know, he's going to be, I think he's going to be the victim of some disease or something like that, because karma's a real bitch, man. I've suffered from karma getting even with me a couple of times, and you know what? I deserved it, but, you know, it wasn't fun. So I don't know what's going to happen to him. Along those lines, he fired the head librarian of Congress. Fired the librarian of Congress. Yeah, that's it. Head librarian of Congress. Anyhow, I understand that because he doesn't read. You know, he does. And anybody ever see him sit down and read a document? He doesn't read. The deal with, in his first term, he used to have these security briefings every morning that he was supposed to look at, and he wouldn't look at them. He would have one of his other secretaries or an aide read them, and then tell him what they basically give him a summary, because he can't read fast. He can't. I think he needs glasses, and he won't. And he doesn't want to put them on or something. I don't know. Or did you ever learn how to read? You know that there was a very famous football player for the Washington Redskins that when he left football, they discussed. I can't remember his name. Big tackle. I think he was defensive tackle. Anyhow, he was functionally illiterate, yet he had graduated college, played football for, I don't know, 10, 11 years, something like that, and they never knew that he couldn't read. He was they call that a functional illiterate, and that's what Donald is. He's a functional illiterate. He doesn't know how to read. I don't think. I could be wrong, but I doubt it. You know, because I don't see why you hate to read. Reading's one of my favorite things in life to do. You know, I read. Oh, I try to read over 100 books a year, but it doesn't work that way. You know, but I read articles, stories, and stuff online. I read a lot of that every day, which is, you know, so-so. News articles online are beginning to be difficult to discern whether they're truthful or not, especially if you look at YouTube. I trust the major news broadcasts. That's what I do is if I see a headline on YouTube or something like that, I'll turn around and check it out on all ABC, WNBC, CBS, and CNN. And, you know, I don't deal with Fox because they just lie through their teeth, too. I used to like Fox, by the way. Anyhow, and I like to do all that and see if there's any, I call it like a reality check. If there's nothing there about that story, then I realize that this story, this can't be true because it's so exciting, you know, it should be true. The other thing you have to watch out with YouTube is that I don't know who generates the headlines for them or if they generate them themselves, but there's a lot of bullshit there, folks. Headlines are what they do to you. In other words, they get you to read or look at an article and you find out that the article has nothing to do with what they talked about. They're talking about a dozen other things, you know. And what that's done for is because what I think a lot of what these people get paid by is paid by the click. I don't know what you get per click, But if you get 100,000 clicks on the video, it's worth some good money to us. A nice bit of change, and then you'll get advertisers that come along, because they're interested in if they click on your video, and then they go around and turn around and click on your advertiser, they're all paying you money. That's how these guys make 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100,000 a year as a podcaster or a vlogger like myself. I'm not sure. There's one guy that I follow around a lot is Brian Taylor Cohen. He used to do Occupy Democrats. I don't know whether that's still what he does or not, but he's out on his own now, I think, and he has his own website and he has his own vlog, or I think that's what they call it when you put videos up like I do, and he does a lot of it live. And I can't do live because first of all, I don't think my connection's good enough. Second of all, I just don't know if YouTube, which I use most of the time, is a really good distributor, of live videos. I know they're good on this one, but I don't know about live videos. So as we're moving along, in case you're interested in what I'm doing right now, I'm definitely searching for something else to talk about here, and I don't know what I could, or could not bring to the table right now. We still have that India-Pakistan is heating up, two nuclear powers. They're saying this could be the first test of Chinese military tech, because I forget who's armed who. I think Pakistan's got it. I'm not sure. China and India don't get along, and they say, they're telling you Trump makes major concession to China ahead of trade talks. He didn't concede everything yet. He doesn't. He didn't even make that permanent. He just said he thought. And everybody thinks when he says that, that's what he means. He doesn't know what he means. He could come away from it, and the tariffs could be 300% by the time he walks away from it. Because it's one of the things that I've learned over the years is that the Asian people, like the Arabs and whatnot, who have been bartering for everything for years, as well as the Chinese who have been bartering for everything for years, are absolutely fantastic negotiators. They don't give anything away. China invented brainwashing, and so they have a way of playing with the human mind, and I just don't think that Trump's smart enough to deal with them. He doesn't get great deals. He gets what they want to give him. Instead of going in and demanding this from Trump, they sit down and say, okay, let's see what Trump will do. That's makes sense to me, and they're very good at that, and Americans aren't. My niece got hired years ago, over 20 years ago, at IBM, and she's a vice president now. She's in charge of most of the media content. She was hired. She lives in Japan. She spent 10, 15 years in Japan. It's been 5-year clips during this time, and excuse me, and she's brilliant, and she speaks Japanese fluently, and she's been there in negotiations, and that's what you see. They hire Indians, and they hire whatnot. Indians for their technology and their ability to, I guess, hold emotions in check or whatever it is, but they're good. They're just great in negotiations. And you have Americans just aren't. We're too blunt. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying when I say that, but we have a tendency to be very, very direct, and that's just, not a good thing. All right, listen. I'm probably bored a few people to sleep, especially if you're in my neighborhood, because it's cloudy and rainy, so that's the kind of take a nap type of day. But anyhow, thank those of you that listened or clicked in for a little while. Thank you. Watching on YouTube or Blogger or Tumblr, wherever you're watching it, thank you. But please hit the subscribe button. You're not paying anything for that, and I'd have to do a lot of. I don't think there's that many people in the world before I could get subscription payments from YouTube. But in the meantime, please subscribe to me, and if you like it, hit the like button. And if you got something you want to ask me or you want me to talk about, or if you'd like me to just go to hell, hit the comment section and make a comment. Okay? All right. Have a great Friday, and we'll see you tomorrow.